going on, everyone? Nick Filato with Big Blue View here to discuss the 3-1 New York Football Giants and how Wink Martindale was able to use the double A-gap linebacker twist with a quarterback contain and spy to sack Justin Fields several times. With that play, it was twice, also got a good pressure on that play, but they sacked overall Justin Fields 6 times in this game to put it to the Chicago Bears. The last time the New York Giants had 6 sacks in a game was against Carolina when the Giants sacked Sam Darnold and PJ Walker thrice, not the band. Before that, last game of 2020, the Giants sacked Andy Dalton, I believe it was, 6 times in that game. It was an almost play-in situation to get into the playoffs, but that was before the Nate Sudfeld fiasco with Doug Peterson and the Philadelphia Eagles. But right now, that is water under the bridge. Let's get to these plays. So please pay attention to the timestamps down at the bottom. This is the second sack on a 2nd and 12 early in the second quarter. And what the New York Giants are going to do is they're going to align with 2 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, 2 of them being edge. And the Giants are going to create a one-on-one to the left side of the offensive formation with this tackle who's going to have to take Kayvon Thibodeaux, and then this guard who's going to have to pay attention to Nick Williams. This is a double A-gap linebacker twist with adjacent quarterback contain and spy. And I have Dexter Lawrence right here, initially coming upfield because he does, but you'll watch what he does a little bit later on in this rep. And you're also going to have Azeez Ojulari acting as a middle hook, but also spying Justin Fields with, of course, this double A-gap twist from the linebackers, which will isolate this center who was struggling the entire game against Dexter Lawrence. But here, his attention is on Dexter Lawrence, and you'll see how that wastes blockers. Let's check it out. At this point, 1, 2, 3 blockers on Dexter Lawrence. Not just because of Dexter Lawrence, but also because Azeez Ojulari dropped off into coverage right here. So you're wasting 3 when you only need 1 on a player who is just kind of flowing outside to see what Justin Fields is going to do if he's going to try to bail the pocket, and then isolating Khalil Herbert against 2 blitzing linebackers. The center's early game struggles with Dexter Lawrence prompted this isolation against Khalil Herbert. And it leads right to this Tay Crowder sack. And we'll go over it one more time right here, just so we see. You can see there's some movement right there by Jaylon Smith, who acts like he's going outside the 3 technique, but he's not. Let's pay attention to the blitz. Jaylon Smith is going to lead the way, and that's going to be the initial contact on Herbert. And then you're going to have Tay Crowder, who's going to come right around. There's nobody to take Tay Crowder because this center paid attention to Dexter Lawrence. And now think, if this is read by Fields and he sees the pressure coming in this direction with the blitz being picked up right here by Khalil Herbert, he's going to flow outside where you have Dexter Lawrence expanding in that direction and Azeez Ojulari waiting for him. That's the contain and quarterback spy part of this. This is excellent scheme, and the Chicago Bears reacted the exact way Wink Martindale hoped that he would. You can see sack. It's not the first time that they ran this screen, but let's watch it from this angle. There's nothing open downfield. We'll go over it one more time. Nowhere for Justin Fields to go. See, isolation, 2 versus 1 against a running back. We talked all offseason about how Wink Martindale loves to scheme 2 versus 1s in a variety of different ways. And now we get to see the success part of the contain here when Dexter Lawrence gets his sack a little bit later on in the second quarter on this 3rd and 6 situation. You're going to get the same thing from the linebackers, different type of alignment a little bit, different players with Micah McFadden in there, but it's going to be the same exact thing. You're going to have Dexter Lawrence. It's more deliberate here, but he's going to kick out a little bit more to the contained side with Azeez Ojulari just totally spying Justin Fields. You send Micah McFadden to take out Khalil Herbert. The center reacts this time, but Tay Crowder does a good job kind of getting around him along with Micah McFadden to flush Justin Fields out of the pocket, and it ends up being a sack for who? Dexter Lawrence, who is in contain right there, just moving to the outside. They're occupying 2 blockers, allow the blitz to get inside. Micah McFadden gets around Khalil Herbert. Justin Fields panics, runs right into the contain where there's 2 players waiting for him. Sack Dexter Lawrence. Love to see it. Let's watch it one more time. To the left side of the offense, just have the one-on-one. Micah McFadden looks to make contact on Sam Mustipher's hip here. That's what you would want if you really want the twist to happen, but that's not necessarily the only objective here, because his objective here is to eliminate Khalil Herbert to allow Tay Crowder to come in and block. But Mustipher reads it this time after seeing it, I think 2 drives ago. But it doesn't matter because Justin Fields runs right into the contain for the sack by the big man. We get to see it here. Now on this play, you could argue there's a little bit more open downfield. If we watch, see the Giants in cover one type situation. Darnell Mooney is streaking at this point and has leverage over this defender who has to work over the top of the release of this offensive player. So you have leverage at the inside, even though Darnay Holmes does a good job closing with. But by that point, the pressure right in the face of Justin Fields got to him enough to allow Dexter Lawrence to get this sack right at the line of scrimmage. This is the third time the Giants are running this on a 3rd and 3 situation in the beginning of the 4th quarter. We're going to see the same type of stuff here. You're going to get 2 rushes on the one-on-one here, and Mustipher is going to again pay attention to Dexter Lawrence, who's just going to flow out here to contain. Azeez Ojulari is going to drop to be the quarterback spy, and you're going to get the twist from these 2 linebackers up front right into the face of Justin Fields. Let's watch. Micah McFadden goes, takes out Khalil Herbert. Mustipher is late to even touch Tay Crowder here because his initial attention is on big old Dexter Lawrence. Look at that. He is looking right at Dexter Lawrence right there because Dexter Lawrence was a problem for the interior part of the Bears' offensive line all game. Khalil Herbert, what is he supposed to do in this situation? He has to take the most dangerous man, which is Micah McFadden, and that opens up everything for Tay Crowder to get right into the face of Justin Fields, who does not have a chance whatsoever on this play to find an open receiver. This is a pressure. It's obviously not a sack, but it's the same type of pressure that was dialed up twice previously. We already went over those 2 plays. The Bears did not read it. They did not pick it up. And Tay Crowder almost gets home in a big 3rd and 3 situation where the Bears had to punt. Now, some of these other plays weren't necessarily excellent X's and O's in scheme from Wink Martindale. They were more so the Giants just winning their one-on-one matchups. And this is the strip fumble by Azeez Ojulari. And Azeez Ojulari wins his one-on-one matchup against 70, and Dexter Lawrence really wins his matchup against Sam Mustipher, a player that we're kind of picking on in this video. And you can see how the Bears have 2 running backs in the formation with Khalil Herbert and Tristan Ebner. They both release out into a route. So you have a 5-man protection against 5 rushers. The Giants do bring a blitz here, but it's the one-on-one matchups that are won. Let's watch and focus on Azeez Ojulari first. What exactly he does. He explodes up the arc, right? And he goes to make that initial contact with the inside arm. And this is something that he did really well at Georgia. As he's doing that, he simultaneously goes to violently chop the outside arm of the tackle downward. And what that does, if you make clean contact, is it forces the momentum of that tackle downward and usually stops their feet. And you can see how that's exactly what happens because this tackle is attempting to gain some sort of grasp on Azeez Ojulari. But this breaks the contact and just screws with the equilibrium of said tackle. And then Azeez Ojulari is able to use the rip move to shed this arm that, see? The hand is on the chest right there. You use the rip move, it forces the arm that was smacked down back upward and then creates separation as Azeez Ojulari bends through the contact. And Azeez shows very good bend here. He bends, and then he just gets his hand on Justin's hip. And that forces this ball to pop in the air. Excellent play by Kayvon Thibodeaux to fall on it because everyone thinks it's an incomplete pass. I thought it was an incomplete pass. But this is a great play by Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeaux to fall on this, force the fumble, and then fall on the ball that is just sitting there. And a lot of people had a chance at it. Kayvon Thibodeaux was smart enough and savvy enough to fall on it. But that's a great rush right there from Azeez Ojulari. Now let's look at Dexter Lawrence, who is aligned over the nose, Sam Mustipher. Right here, Mustipher gets hands right on his face initially. You could see that. And you can see how Lawrence shoots this hand right on that shoulder. See the contact? He uses the arm that we can't see right here to just whip the contact that Mustipher had with this outside arm away. It's basically like an initial rip move from the bottom up. You see that? Like the whirly-durly or something Ralph Macchio did in the 80s. And what does that do? That completely breaks the contact and allows Dexter Lawrence to essentially get hip-to-hip and win this half-man relationship. And then he uses the rip move again. Low leverage, low pad level. Sam Mustipher at this point is trying to cut this angle off or do something to wash Dexter Lawrence down the line of scrimmage. But Dexter Lawrence is very strong. He plays with low leverage and he has quick, efficient hands, as we can see here, able to create that separation. And then he bends through some contact here too. Look. You don't really see a lot of big men be able to turn a corner like that. This is a 350-pound player, mind you. That's a good rep right there from Dexter Lawrence as well to help with this pressure. See, he thinks it's an incomplete pass too. Kayvon Thibodeaux did not. Thank you, Kayvon Thibodeaux, for being heady. Very, very savvy play from Thibodeaux. And we'll see it from this angle. Azeez Ojulari just wins around the edge. Very impressive. Let's see if there's any receivers open. Because the Giants are in man coverage, and it looks like Equanimeous St. Brown right here is going to be open. There's incidental contact, something that was flagged the last 2 games by the New York Giants for the same thing, but Giants didn't get the flag, doesn't matter, still got this turnover, and that's exactly where Justin Fields is looking. This could have been a really big play because you don't have anybody outside the hash other than this player who can make a play, and you have somebody who can block him right there after the contact is made. You would hope the flag would get thrown for the Giants, but we're not sure if that would happen. Here's the 3rd and 6 sack by Dexter Lawrence. It's going to look like a 6-man pressure, but really, Tay Crowder has Cole Kmet, and Micah McFadden has Khalil Herbert. So they both kind of green dog towards the line of scrimmage. And I like the aggressive approach to act like they're coming because the Bears are in a 7-man protection here. But Micah McFadden and Tay Crowder are both just on their respective targets. But you could see Tay Crowder looking at Justin Fields. So there's an element of a spy here. But really what happens is Dexter Lawrence just beats 62. But I also love how Micah McFadden coming down towards the line of scrimmage to take on Herbert at the line of scrimmage, also occupies 67 and creates the one-on-one matchup between Lawrence and 62 right here. And that's who wins their one-on-one matchup. Dexter Lawrence getting this sack of Justin Fields. Don't like to see a quarterback get bent in that manner, but let's watch how Dexter Lawrence actually got this sack. He fires off the football. Violent chop with the outside hand right off the bat. Tries to break the contact. 62 makes contact with that outside hand, and he attempts, Dexter Lawrence that is, to break the contact. And it doesn't necessarily break the contact, as you see, but look how low Dexter Lawrence is relative to 62. Such a low hat, winning the pad level battle. And you can see how he generates so much force, Dexter Lawrence, that is, through the ground to rise the center of gravity of 62 and get him off kilter. Look at him just bull rush right here. Look how low Dexter Lawrence is. What kind of power can 62 get? He's up on his tippy toes, man. His feet are not on the ground. There's no way he can generate any force through the ground, and there's no way he can really absorb any more power from Dexter Lawrence with his back basically being straight at this point and him being vertical, especially with Dexter Lawrence so low. So Lawrence just bulls right through his inside shoulder and gets this sack right here. You can see how he kind of goes to a long arm, Dexter Lawrence right there. But then this is just sheer power and will. And one reason why this was created, this is more of a one-on-one matchup, but 67 was going to open and help 62 block Dexter Lawrence because, like I said a little earlier, Dexter Lawrence was a problem. But he gets occupied right there. You see how he's flowing to help 62? 62 is expecting help. Eyes on Micah McFadden. And that just takes Mustipher away, creates the one-on-one matchup that is easily exploited by Dexter Lawrence, who had one heck of a game in blue. And here's the first sack of the game by the New York Giants. Giants got 5 guys up here on the line of scrimmage, not including defensive back Fabian Moreau back here. And it's tight front. You got the 4-eye right here to the strong side where the tight end is, and a 3 technique to the backside with Tay Crowder stacked off the ass of Dexter Lawrence. Jihad Ward is going to come up with this sack, and he reads this play. It's just going to be a play action rollout, something that I'm sure the Giants defense see a ton in practice if it's any indication off of what the Giants offense puts out on film on Sunday. But you can see how Jihad Ward just fights through Darnell Mooney's little contact, and he reads that all these guys are going out on routes. So he just stays disciplined, eyes on Justin Fields right at the rollout, as we can see right here. And he just stays patient. Justin Fields goes to rollout, and I love how he sets outside. It's called boxing players inside. He sets outside, and that's going to force Justin Fields to cut back. Instead of taking, he gets the sack right here. But if he took a more direct path, like here, Justin Fields could use his athletic ability to go out here, and now you have a blocker with Julian Love, Cole Kmet against Julian Love out in space. Justin Fields can destroy you. You always want to box inside in these types of situations when it's one-on-one, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 teammates who are just in screen, let alone basically your entire defense on this side. So Jihad Ward does a good job boxing Justin Fields inside, forcing him in that direction, and then coming away with the sack. And then he celebrates too. And those are some of the ways the New York Giants were able to generate pressure against the Chicago Bears. 6 sacks, that's nothing to wink at. Martindale was able to get the pressure that he was able to do by taking advantage of the Chicago protection and the young quarterback Justin Fields. Some of it was scheme, and some of it was also the Giants just winning one-on-one battles with Dexter Lawrence and with Azeez Ojulari. Sometimes that's all you need to do. And it's great that the Giants seem like they have some guys in the building right now who can execute in a one-on-one situation and win. It's not something that we could say as Giant fans for quite some time now. Thank you so much, though, for tuning in to this Big Blue View video. I am Nick Filato. Please head on over to bigblueview.com and check out all of our written content, and also get our podcast wherever you get podcasts at Big Blue View Radio. Thanks, everyone. Let's go Giants. Take care.